Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We talk about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. And I'm back today on a Tuesday with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore. How's it going today, Bill?
It's going well. Thank you, sir.
Well, we're certainly having some interesting things going on in the electric vehicle space. While people may talk about electric vehicle sales being down, Elon Musk's net worth just keeps growing. He hit 1.4 trillion today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the world's first published trillionaire. It's the first one that's actually been made public that somebody's a trillionaire. And the SpaceX IPO, live at a fixed price of $135, it's at $216 today.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's up $80 from where they started. I mean, that's just, it's already up 33%.
Well, I hope though that results in good things for the planet. He obviously had a very positive impact on the electric car market. He's certainly done some really creative, innovative things for space. Reusable rockets, which is brilliant. Space, Starlink. Yeah. Although I don't know. We're going to be putting so much stuff in space there. I don't know. Are we going to have a problem with, I think there's a term for it, but basically a domino effect. If you knock one off, has a cascade effect to other orbiting satellites, and what does that do for space exploration? I mean, that's a big space up there, so maybe the chance of hitting something are pretty small, but still. I give you an example. There is, I follow a young man called Leo, and Leo is the head of a company called Samson Boats or something like that. So he bought for $1 a 100-year-old sailing boat, and he basically took it apart literally to the keel and rebuilt it. And this boat won the Fastnet race around the Isle of Wight in England in 1927. So he's English. So he wants to sail it back and take part in the 2027 Fastnet race. Okay. And so he built it. He, up in Port Townsend area that I've been to a few times. Took it, sailed it down the California coast, down the west coast of Central America, through the Panama Canal. Had to do some work on the boat, took it and sailed over to Jamaica. Then from Jamaica, while he was in Panama, he was approached, could you carry these relief goods, food items and things like that, and toiletries and medicine? Can you take that to Cuba for us? He said, well, it's just him and his girlfriend on the boat. Yeah, I'll be happy to do that. So he just landed the day before yesterday. He landed in Santiago de Cuba, which is a port down on the very southeastern part of Cuba. So and the way he could shoot all this in video, showed us the voyage. He showed us Santiago de Cuba. He showed us, unloading the cargo and people picking it up to distribute it. So all of that. You know how he does that? I mean, there's little or no internet, available in Cuba.
Right.
But he was able to do it because he has Starlink.
Yeah.
On the boat, right? And so for that kind of thing, that's brilliant. That's just fantastic. So that's a very positive thing. What's been going on in the Ukraine and the Russians using it at one point until, Elon cut the link.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, So yeah, so it has some positive spin-offs. Just hope it keeps dedicated to doing right by humanity. So,
the SpaceX IPO is very interesting. So I remember at one time Microsoft had created like 4,000 millionaires or something in the Seattle market back in the late 90s or something like that. Well, the IPO was oversubscribed by 4 times. There was that many people who wanted to buy the stock at the $135 price. Approximately 4,400 SpaceX employees have become millionaires, and 400 became centimillionaires, meaning 100 million net worth. Founders Fund $600 million investment is now worth 50 billion. So people who put in money a while back have certainly
Well,
done well.
I hope it improves their lives and brings them joy, and they can use that, to not only help their family but also, help the community around them. That would be great.
All right, more positive Elon news. So Tesla Robotaxi service launched in Austin on June 12th. So it started 4 days ago. They started launching fully autonomous Model Ys with no driver on Austin public streets on the 12th, and they've had no incidents. Initial fleet of 10, estimated to conduct 4,500 plus tests per month at 15 rides per day, allowing rapid iteration on issues. Musk confirm the first self-delivery from factory to customer planned for next month. Tentative public launch date, June 22nd. Dedicated Cybertaxi, Robotaxi vehicle still on track for 26. Now, I know I've seen, like a year or two ago, a Tesla get delivered maybe from the local, center to somebody's
Right?
house, and somebody followed it, filming it the whole time, but it drove
Ah,
itself to the customer's house. So I
yeah,
know that they've
yeah.
done that before, but this one going right from the factory, driving straight to the customer's house is a different level. Of course, it doesn't specify if it drove, if it went from Austin to somewhere else in Austin, right? So, you know, I'm assuming it went some distance, right? So, but who knows? It
Yeah,
might have been straight
well,
down the
yep.
street.
Uh,
But anyways, I thought that was interesting. All right, so there's some kind of peace agreement being agreed to between the Trump administration and Iran, and the stock market has surged on that news, and oil prices are dropping. Brent crude fell to the lowest level since early March following Iran nuclear agreement. Temporary pause on many Trump tariffs, boosting market optimism. He put a pause on on some auto tariffs, aluminum, steel sector. Oh no, auto, aluminum, and steel sector tariffs remain, boosting market optimism. Lower oil prices could accelerate EV adoption economics as gas price advantage narrows. I don't know. It's kind of a wild thought that as the gas price advantage narrows, that there'd be more adoption. But obviously, as gas prices are high, people are it's certainly accelerated
yeah,
EV adoption worldwide.
particularly overseas. I've seen
Yeah,
lots and lots of headlines of, that was the tipping point, that we're going to, that not here. And that's most of the articles emphasize it's going on everywhere else. They've reached a tipping point, but the United States. Um, so well, I did discover an interesting impact of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act,
mhm.
or as it is defined in federal legislation, which I was reading yesterday, the OBBBA,
Yeah,
because I don't want to obviously spell the whole
right.
thing out. But I did find an interesting impact on what is called 45Z, as in zebra, Z, whatever, the letter Z. And it turns out that that's a very positive impact for this little side initiative that I'm working on, that actually makes it, what I'm doing, even more important and needed. So so I guess in a way I'm good that they passed the OBBBA,
Right.
BBBA. So anyway.
Yeah. So, Bill, you have your article on LinkedIn you wanted to talk about. Why don't you go ahead and talk about that? I need a minute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. So what I did was, as part of my research into 45Z, which nobody, including me, had ever heard of, until last week when I started going down that rabbit hole. is that it turns out that one of the provisions in there, not only does it sort of change the terms as to who can qualify and what can qualify for a sustainable aviation fuel, which is, acronym SAF, but it also changes the definition and use of, wait for it, animal byproducts, in particular manure. So chicken, pardon the French, chicken shit, cow manure, pig manure, all the things that these biologicals like us excrete on a fairly regular basis. It turns out that what was previously done with that manure is the government was encouraging farmers to take and capture that, put it in some type of a reactor type, not nuclear reactor, but a way to what's the word I'm looking for here? The not biogenesis, but I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, take that and then convert that as it biodigests over into methane. And then you can use that methane, which is basically natural gas. You can take and use that to then sell it into the market, or you can use it to run, processes on your farm, your dairy, whatever. So that, however, changed with the OBBBA. So now it actually makes more sense to take that, and rather than convert it to methane, is to take it, and if you're a dairy farmer or you've just got a small herd of dairy cattle or even a feedlot, if you can capture that, instead of putting it and digesting it into methane, take that and just spread that on your fields. In particular, if you're into corn farming, you put it on your cornfields. That turns out to be a much smarter and actually more financially rewarding avenue than the old way of making it into methane. So I wrote an article. You can see it on my LinkedIn account, called "Oh Crap, There's Real Money in It." And I think it's an interesting read, but it's one of those impacts that, again, I don't know how many people were aware of it. I wasn't, but as I started digging into the new regs, 153 pages long, and was able to find out, oh, well, this is interesting. And so I and co-pilot, my co-author, generated this article, and we put it on LinkedIn for people's edification if they're interested in it.
I could have somebody come on and talk all about pig manure and converting it into fuel.
Well, at some point, yeah, we should probably do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've heard plenty on the topic. It's really odd because it's not something that you think of, right?
No. Nope.
All right.
So yeah, pig manure, cattle manure, chicken, manure.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on to nuclear for a minute. 2.7 billion U.S. investment in uranium enrichment. So there's been a shortage of U.S. Fuel supply for nuclear. The Trump administration announced a $2.7 billion investment to strengthen domestic low-enriched uranium, known as LEU, and high-assay LEU, or HALEU, supply chains. The goal is to expand U.S. nuclear from around 100 gigawatts back in 24 to 400 gigawatts by 2050 to meet data center and grid demands. They recently did $800 million to TVA and Holtec for SMRs and $1 billion loan to Constellation for Pennsylvania nuclear restart. And they have a strategic partnership with Cameco and Brookfield for Westinghouse reactors. So the government's been quite involved in nuclear things. July 4th is supposed to be the date for some reactors to go critical in Idaho National Labs. And they've already had one do it. So I suspect to be a couple more possibly ready, but that's still a quick time frame to try to get things ready.
Yeah, I've mentioned before, I've actually been there inside the lab. So I've seen the holding pool, the holding pond, where the rods down in the bottom glow blue.
The blue water. Yeah,
Blue water, yeah, yeah.
the Erie blue. Yeah. Let's see here. All right, let's talk about Zeekr. And yeah, nobody said they needed a 1,381 horsepower SUV, but Zeekr created one anyways.
Anyway, sure, why not?
Yeah, so I mean, nobody asked for this. I'm sure it's going to sell because it's a Zeekr and it's not going to be expensive because it's Zeekr.
Yeah, it's
Let's
what
see,
a
there it
hundred.
is.
Yeah, what did I had AI translate the price for me? Something like $148,000.
Yeah,
Is that the?
got very much a Rolls Royce Bentley look to the front
Oh
of it.
yeah, definitely. Yep, yep.
Um, let's see what we've got here. All right. The cabin features a dual display setup, links to driver and passenger screens. It's called the 8X. It integrates Geely's ASD intelligent driving systems, combines real world driving data with AI. Let's see if we get a little more information on the product itself. So it was kind of a weird take. So it has a 2-liter turbocharged engine with a plug-in hybrid system and 3 electric
No,
motors for a combined.
so it's range extended then.
Yeah. Let me see. Combined 1,381 horsepower. Battery options of 55 or 70 kilowatt hours deliver an all-electric range of about 200 miles. Um, hmm. This is kind of different, I guess, than what I would have expected. Oh, yeah. It ranks among the highest among premium SUVs in China's luxury hybrid SUV segment between 118 and 196,000. Let's see what information it gives. It's just hard to fathom a 2-liter. Oh, it's a 2-liter turbocharged engine for the plug-in for in case the electric runs out. But
Yeah, they don't describe the. I mean,
the electric's most of it.
yeah,
It's
and
got
that and
3
that
electric motors.
and that works. I'm this kind of my other side project uses a similar kind of configuration to propel a marine vessel at pretty remarkable speeds. And what's important is because it's range extended 2 to 3 times what the competing vessels are in the same market. And
You
I'll
know,
talk about that more later if it goes beyond the dreams on a sheet of paper.
well, let's talk about Neo next. So, Neo's CEO is warning auto industry is entering its final stages. Domestic retail sales may fall 15 to 20%. And now he's saying this for 2026, but you and I were talking about one of the things as EVs take over, worldwide, auto sales are going to decline because EVs don't need to be replaced as often. They
Yep.
last longer. They don't have all the same maintenance a gas car has. Um, but it makes for it's going to not necessarily be a great thing for the auto industry because you're going to be getting rid of a lot of service work and you're going to be getting rid of just a lot of new car sales because used cars will be so attractive now. Kill
Yep.
switch in vehicles in 27 is a bad idea. Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah. I'm curious. I do watch a channel called Ryan Hall, y'all, who does actually tracks violent weather, tornadoes, and things of that nature, and he's got about a dozen storm chasers that follow these. And we've had this spate of storms over the last several weeks. And these storm chasers, they're right out. In fact, one of the storm chasers, a woman, actually had one, spin down. But I don't know, had to be within a football field's length of her as she was tooling down a backcountry road somewhere in Kansas or wherever it was. So obviously, because of the miles that a storm chaser puts on, the only best, I think, electrified vehicle that might work for them would be an extended range hybrid. Otherwise, they have to, they're putting on, they're in Texas chasing storms one day and in Kansas the next day, and the following day they're over in Missouri or in Tennessee chasing these storms. So it's an interesting. I think they're fueled by two things: gasoline and adrenaline, because you're out there hoping this, you're going to get a good video of a tornado forming. And I've seen several already this year. It's just amazing to watch those things come down and form.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what it has to do with kill switches,
I
but
don't either, but he did mention storm chasing, so I thought I'd interject that.
yeah. Um, anyways, but that was just an interesting commentary from the guy at Neo to talk about that. But Neo is doing some interesting things because they're the biggest company in battery swapping, which I'm not a big fan of battery swapping for the cars, just because the battery technology is getting so advanced, it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't
Yeah,
that?
yeah. All right.
So there is, by the way, there is an article and there's a video posted today that shows the cattle and the battery swap system going on with fairly large trucks. And it takes, I think they said it takes under 90 seconds to do the swap. And in fact, they've got a video that I don't know why I've got that thing popping up. Here we go. Having trouble with the stream. Thank you. I don't know what that's doing there, but anyway. Um, and so they've got a big screen, and it shows apparently the countdown of how long it's taking to do the swap. And this one truck was being swapped, and the big screen was showing 68, which I'm presuming is 68 seconds. So a truck can have its entire battery system swapped in 90 seconds or less, which is fascinating.
All right. Let me see what we got left. So Sweden has this slot car heavy duty EVs. So
Yep.
what is this? I remember having little race cars as a kid that had little.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like that. So what they've done is this is for dockside operations. So you've got these trucks, and here we go. That their job basically is to take containers and then move the containers around. And either they've got a automated way to do that, or there's a drive type thing. But they can do this with electric. So what they did is they just simply embedded a electrified somehow rail. I don't know whether it makes physical contact or whether it's a type of system where you're inductively charging the battery. But they've got this system there, and those trucks are always running the same route. So they just simply put that in the ground, and somehow the trucks make contact conductively or inductively, and that's where they get their power from. So they can run day and night, no problem.
It's just kind of a wild concept. 200 meters of electrified roadway can keep port vehicles running continuously with zero charging downtime via regenerative braking. I think that's kind of it's just interesting use. I mean, it's going to be such a specialized manufacturing case. It makes me kind of.
This would work in ports, obviously ports all over the world.
It sure could.
Once they get to that point.
Right.
I see more and more articles as I'm posting stuff to our RSS stream. More and more where it's saying, we have reached the tipping point. It's done. It's all. In fact, I just posted one today that basically he says it's done. There's no question. We're going the direction of electrification, and if manufacturers don't get on board with that, that's that's not good for them. They need to get on board because this is happening. Maybe not with the same speed overseas that it is here, but it's happening, and It's nothing that anyone's going to do at this point is going to stop that trend. It's just happening.
So what I'm not getting here, Nate, is who would turn off their car? I mean, the kill switches are only intended, as I understand it, for law enforcement to use in some rare instance where they're trying to catch somebody who's going 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, I don't either. And
Yeah.
of course, the concern
It has
is if
nothing
you,
to do with electric cars. I mean, gas cars. They
well,
can
you
do
know what?
that too.
Technically, General Motors already had that capability built into their I don't know, what is it called? Not Starlink, but their
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, that was already built in. So if they wanted it, the police were chasing somebody and somebody had, it's on my car. Why can't I think of what it is? But if they, if they need to stop that vehicle,
OnStar. OnStar.
OnStar. If they take and the police contact OnStar and says, "Hey, we've got this guy running away from us. We need to stop him." My understanding is that they can basically kill that car. So that's been around. Wow, since OnStar's been around,
Oh,
and
that's a long time. Yeah, it's been around
well, yeah, because
for years.
I actually got to go through the OnStar system 15 years ago when I was in Detroit.
Yeah, I don't know what that has to do with 27 either, unless more cars are
Yeah,
going to have that feature in 27. There's nothing to do with electric vehicles. That would be true with
no,
cars too. So, um, it doesn't really mean much. Let's see. Okay, what's this new 9-seat microliner from Veridian? Man,
don't ask me how to pronounce that. So yeah, so what they've done is it's kind of like the old Schweringer Metroliner, that
Mhm.
very narrow fuselage. In the case of the Schweringer Metroliner, it was two turbo engines. This one is more along the lines of a elongated corporate jet, corporate turboprop
Mhm.
that you see, and they just basically the idea is they make it. It's hybrid electric now. That's the direction that we're seeing a lot of this, a lot of the aviation industry, and in some cases the automobile industry, going is to try to make it as much battery as possible, as makes sense logically for weight and things like that, and then make the rest of it up by generating some type of a fuel, be that hydrogen, or be it methanol, or be it diesel fuel or kerosene, whatever the engine happens to burn.
Okay, so these like some kind of hybrid electric
So
type
it's yeah,
aircraft.
so it's a hybrid electric, yeah. Turbo, so it's probably running on kerosene, although technically it could run, depending on how it's set up, it could run on sustainable aviation fuel. So it could be made from, uncooked, cooking oil or used cooking oil, made from animal lard, a whole host of, cow manure and things that could all be, powered by that, or could come from a plant source, or it could come like they're doing now with started with the Air Plant One in Moses Lake. It's just actually air they've grabbed, CO2 they've grabbed out of the atmosphere, and electricity that comes from the Grand Coulee Dam and the water out of the Columbia. And they can make a fuel that would run that airplane. Totally renewable, absolutely zero carbon in that fuel, with the exception of how they get it from Moses Lake to SeaTac, for example, or wherever.
Yeah, well, it's a nice looking aircraft. I mean, I've flown single engine, 10 seats plus two pilots, 10 passengers,
Right.
two pilots. That's a
Yeah.
Cessna that's really popular for small commuters. So this would kind of
Kind of like that.
replace
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's nice looking, if nothing else. It's got a nice looking design. Um, let's see here. Yeah, that was really all I had for today, Bill.
Hey,
So
we're at 30 minutes. If we just stop talking in 5 seconds, we will
there you
make
go.
30 minutes.
There you go. Well, folks, thanks a lot for watching. We'll be back on Friday with engineer Mike Herzog. Otherwise, folks, everyone, thanks for chiming in and have a great day.